Hi guys, and welcome to another video of Shea Says. Today we're going to be talking about my favorites of 2024, so my favorite books, TV shows, and movies. So let's get started. So we'll start with books. I only read 7 total books this year, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I mean, I guess it's a lot for me. So my favorite books of 2024 are definitely Binding 13 and Keeping 13. I can't even explain how much they affected my life. I knew it ended on a huge cliffhanger, the first book, so I'm like, and these people had to get the next one, and I'm like, okay, that's definitely a book that I need to read. So I did read both of those. It's a whole series. It's called the Boys of Tommen series. So these are 1 and 2, and then it focuses on a main couple, and it was a dual point of view, which I love. And then the rest of the series, each character, or there's another couple for the next there's 2 books about another couple, and then there's 2 books about the next couple, but they're all in the same world. So it's set in, I think, 2005 in Ireland. It's fun to read a book that's set in a totally different country, but then also set back in time. So I'll read a quick synopsis of Binding 13. So in Binding 13, Shannon Lynch, a 15-year-old living in Ireland, has been bullied and traumatized for years. Desperate for a fresh start, she's transferred mid-year to Tommen College. Her plans to keep a low profile disappear when, thanks to an accident, she catches the eye of Johnny Cavanaugh on her first day of school. I normally don't read high school romances. I do love young adult fiction though, but I decided to read it anyway, and it, like I said, it changed my life. These books literally overtook my life. They consumed me. It was all I thought about. So I even made my own playlist, either songs that were mentioned in the book or songs that I think related to the characters. Just telling you, these books consume my life. And I literally had so I read the first 2, and I've literally had, this is the next book in the series. I've had it for a while, but I was like, okay, I need to take a break because I was just so obsessed with them. But I definitely recommend them. I literally bawled my eyes out multiple times, but I just remember this one scene in the second book that I was literally sobbing. So I definitely recommend those 2 books. So those were my favorite books of 2024. And now we'll move on to my favorite movies of 2024. I watched about 57 movies this year. This was the first year that I was actually tracking how many movies I watched in a year, just because I was curious. So some of my favorites, and these are movies that I watched for the first time this year. Definitely this movie, it's on Prime, and it's called About Fate. Oh, it's so good. I just rewatched it because it's set around New Year's. Another one of my favorites was Wicked. Of course, it's been everyone's favorite, I think. I've seen the musical, I think, 2 times on Broadway, so I was familiar with it, but that was a long time ago, so I didn't fully remember the plot of the story. But I think the movie is a must-watch. Another great movie this year that I saw was Challengers. I think that movie was a great watch, and anything with Zendaya and then Josh O'Connor and Mike Feist. I think they were such great actors in this movie. And these are movies that I rewatched this year that were some of my favorites. So I rewatched Stuck in Love, which I rewatched around Thanksgiving because it starts on Thanksgiving and actually ends on Thanksgiving. And I also met Liana Liberato this year, and I told her that I've been a fan of hers since Stuck in Love, which came out, I think, 2012. So that was definitely on my mind already. Then it was a perfect timing around Thanksgiving. So I definitely recommend that. That has a great cast and a great storyline. So when Liam Payne passed away this year, my mom and I Zoomed my brother, and we watched the One Direction movie. That movie, my brother and I, when it first came out, I think in 2013, we saw it opening night, and the theater was literally packed, but it was so much fun. I don't know if I really watched the movie since then, but rewatching it was so bittersweet, and it was such it's such a good movie. Another one of my favorite rewatches this year was To All the Boys I Have Loved Before. There's 3 movies in that series, and there's also 3 books which I read in college, and those books are so good. I've been actually thinking about rereading them, but that is one of my comfort movies, so I feel like I watch that every year. Again, if you're like a hopeless romantic, that movie is it's just so good and heartwarming. So if you haven't watched that, I definitely recommend it. This is a totally random movie. I rewatched the movie Disturbia this year. It has Shia LaBeouf, and it was definitely like, I think it was like 2007 around. I feel like that was one of the first like scary movies that my brother and I watched like growing up. I wouldn't say it's scary. It's definitely like light thriller. Like it's nothing crazy. Like you're not going to be scared to go to bed at night. But it was actually so good, and I was trying to find movies that were similar to it. So Shia LaBeouf's character is on house arrest, like loosely inspired by it, where he's like locked in his house, so he goes a little stir crazy, and he ends up thinking that his next door neighbor is a murderer. It's such a good movie, and I was like, I'm still trying to find movies that are similar to that, and I can't find anything that like kind of compares. So those are some of my favorite movies this year. I will move on to my favorite TV shows of 2024. Now, I watch a lot of TV and so I'm gonna list again the TV shows that I watched for the first time, and then the TV shows that I always rewatch. Heartstopper season 3 came out this year. I'm gonna be honest, I do this a lot where like I don't want the season to end. I'll watch a bulk of the episodes and then like not watch it. I won't finish it, and it'll be like months go by and I'm like, oh, I never finished the last episode or the last couple episodes. And that happened with Heartstopper. I think I'm on like halfway through the last episode of the season, but that show is so good, and it's also based on a graphic novel, and actually one of the books that I read was a Heartstopper book, and that's another show that's just so heartwarming and like a feel-good show. I also watched the first season of Maxton Hall, which is on Prime. It's a German show. So the synopsis for Maxton Hall: it is quick-witted scholarship student Ruby unwittingly witnesses a secret at Maxton Hall. Arrogant millionaire heir James is determined to silence her, but their clash ignites an unexpected spark between them. So that's a really good show, and they already confirmed that there's going to be another season. And then another show that I watched for the first time this year was Panic, and that is another show on Prime. A lot of shows that I watch, and I think I mentioned this with music too, that I end up seeing clips on TikTok or like edits, and I'm like, ooh, that looks good. That's how I end up watching a lot of these shows, and that is definitely with Panic. I think it was around the time when Challengers came out. There were all these edits of Mike Feist, and he was in the show Panic. So this show came out in 2021, and there's definitely not another season, even though a lot of people do want another season. So this is the synopsis for Panic. No one knows who invented Panic or when it first began, but in the forgotten rural town of Carp, Texas, the game is the only way out. Every summer, the graduating seniors risk their lives competing in a series of challenges that force them to confront their deepest fears for the chance to win life-changing money. Anyone can play, only one will win. Let the games begin. And last but not least, this is just for the shows that I watched for the first time. I watched Rivals, which is on, I think, Disney Plus and Hulu. That was a show that I saw edits of on TikTok and was like, I need to watch this. It is set in the 80s in England, I think. There's good music, there's good looking people, and it does have a really good storyline, and there is definitely a season 2, so that is something to look forward to. Now, these are just shows that I've rewatched during 2024. I did rewatch Never Have I Ever, which is a show on Netflix. It has, I think, 3 or 4 seasons, and it ended already, but it's just such a good show. I did rewatch Ginny and Georgia. I feel like I've seen season 1 like multiple times now. It's definitely worth rewatching, and I think the new season is going to be coming out this year. And these are the shows that I literally watch all the time. Like, and again, it's I either watch them or I go to sleep to them or something along those lines. So Monk, Psych, Gilmore Girls. Gilmore Girls is my all-time favorite show. I've been watching it since I was in middle school. My grandma is the one that got me into it, so it's a very special show to me. Again, like people say, oh, the fall, like it's Gilmore Girls rewatch season, every day is Gilmore Girls rewatch season. It's probably like almost every day that I watch Gilmore Girls. So if you haven't seen Gilmore Girls, I definitely recommend. There are 7 seasons plus 4 movies. There's a lot of episodes, so you will be set for a while. So that is it for this video. Those are my favorite books, movies, and TV shows of 2024. I hope you enjoyed this video, and comment down below any of your favorites of 2024, and I will see you next time. Bye!